Anangu, Arenti, Kuri, Murray.
Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the
British
attacked.
The 1965 Freedom Ride was an important milestone in Aboriginal Australian history, steering the Student Action for Aborigines organisation. At a time when racism was seen by many Australians as issues experienced by other countries such as South Africa or the southern states of the USA, some students from the University of Sydney decided to awaken the community to the reality of Australia's racism and conditions of life for Aboriginal people in country New South Wales. Charles Perkins, one of only two Aboriginal students at the university at the time, was elected president of the newly formed Student Action for Aborigines organisation. The group aimed to draw national and international attention to the poor living conditions of Aboriginal people and race-driven oppression in New South Wales country town. This event was the beginning of resettling the relationship between Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people in modern-day Australia. 1965, a group of students from the University of Sydney organised a bus tour of western and coastal New South Wales towns. Their plan was to draw public attention to the miserable state of health, education and housing of Aboriginal Australians. The Freedom Riders aimed to draw attention to inadequacies in health and housing and to support Aboriginal people in challenging the status quo.
Leading the group was a mixed Aboriginal man from Alice Springs named Charles Perkins. He was 29 at the time in his third year of arts and was a former professional soccer player. Perkins was one of the first Indigenous Australians to graduate from tertiary education and went on to be appointed the head of the government's Department of Aboriginal Affairs in 1984. Other members of the Freedom Ride who became significant figures in Australian society included Jim Spiegelman, Professor Anne Curtois, and Das Cassidy. The ride included a survey of Aboriginal living conditions, a direct challenge to a ban against Aboriginal ex-servicemen at the Wargate Returned Services League, and a demonstration against local laws barring Aboriginal children from the Moree and Kempsey swimming pools. The group ensured their protests were covered by the media in bringing the issue of racial discrimination to national and international press attention and stirring public debate about the disadvantage and racism facing Aboriginal people across Australia at the time.
What made the Freedom Ride so remarkable was that it revealed to many Australians the struggle of our First Peoples for equality and sparked debate about Indigenous affairs. It is remembered today as a turning point in modern Australian history for the rights of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. The efforts of the SAFA organisation were instrumental in creating an environment for change. It played a large role in shifting public opinion towards a yes vote in the 1967 referendum to remove the discrimination against Aboriginal Australians from the Australian Constitution. The referendum resulted in two amendments regarding law and census to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Australia. The Freedom Ride has been described as one of those transitional moments in Australian history when one era fades and another takes its place. The Freedom Ride emboldened Australians to take a stand against discrimination,
to protect the world from devastation, to unite all peoples within our nation, to denounce the evils of truth and love, to extend our reach to the stars above.
We can continue the passion for justice pursued by the Freedom Riders today and advocate for the rights of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples.